That was actually recommended to me by someone who watched the first edition. He's a friend of mine who I met during the creative arts program. I was a teacher observer, and he was one of the other teachers there. And he actually came down to watch the show, and after that he said, oh, you know, my wife and I, because his wife is also a teacher, he said, my wife and I were wondering, how come you use the word exaggerate? We would have thought it would be exasperate instead. I was like, yeah, huh? It's a lot more appropriate. So when we decided to restage it this time, I told Chris, I think we should change the word. For me as a writer, I don't like changing things. So this is actually quite a huge step for me to be able to relook something I've already done and try and see whether or not I can make it better. The first week I was here, I actually felt really useless. I could barely write anything useful. I actually threw out a lot of it. But, you know, just that is part of the process, isn't it? It's just writing and writing and writing until something sticks and makes sense. Then you work on what sticks. I drew mind maps and plans and things like that, of which, of course, I eventually never followed. I realized that I'm that kind of person. I'm like, okay, goal, 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 goal. Never fulfill any of the goals. Okay, never mind. Fulfill other goals instead. Yeah, so I realized that that is also part of my process. So a lot of the things that I did for Basement Workshop was understanding my own process as a writer. I wanted to expand it because the earlier edition is just under an hour. So some people were like, why isn't there more? And I mean, I know more isn't necessarily good, but I do think that the bits of expansion that I did this time are necessary. Now I wanted to talk about being a parent and being a teacher at the same time. I also wanted to talk about tuition. Yeah, the other thing was the PSLE, because one of the teachers whom I spoke to, the one who teaches at NIE now, he had a lot to say about the PSLE because when he first came out as a teacher, he was posted to teach primary school. And he said that in primary school, then it's very different from primary school now. Like, you know, the way this examination has taken over everybody's minds as the be-all and end-all of, you know, everything. This discussion about, you know, school and whether or not we're doing right by our kids where education is concerned is a perennial thing. It just never goes away. Partly because it's always on our minds, but partly because things never change. Actually, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to restage it as well, because we realized that a lot of this is still current and it's still relevant. I don't know whether it'll ever be dated. It might be in a while, but you know, I think the discussion will never really go away. And Chris was even like, maybe we should do it every 2 years. No. Yeah. I just don't have the brain space.